How to effectively pray for romantic success. How to pray for your love life. And in this series, we are going to be looking at 5 different ways to effectively pray for romantic success. I'm Hilton Samuel of God Wants You Indeed Married. In the last video, we spoke about don't ever give up. Be relentless. And in this video, we are going to be looking at ask God for exactly what you want. Ask God for exactly what you want. And don't be afraid to tell him if you love someone that you're interested in. Don't be afraid to let him know that, you would like to have that person. Someone asked me on one of my webinars if you can be specific, about who you want. Just think of children, and when they want something from you, they are very clear about what they want. I remember a story of 2 blind men who wanted Jesus to heal them, and they shouted, and eventually they got to Jesus. And Jesus asked them an interesting question, what I would call a self-evident question, and it was almost rhetorical. What would you have me to do? It was clear that they were blind and they want their sight, but God wanted them to articulate exactly what they wanted. So I have what is called the ask method, the ASK. Ask and it shall be given unto you. Seek and ye shall find. Knock and it shall be open unto you. You notice that this involves not just asking, but also seeking, action, knocking, and it will be open to you. So don't be afraid to ask God for what you want. And I want to explore this by using children as an illustration. Little children, there's an interesting thing about children. Children assume that they are going to get things from their parents, and normally they ask in a variety of ways. Children ask nicely. Little girls, when they want something from their daddy, they are so nice and charming, please, daddy, please, mommy, please, pretty, please. They almost want to overwhelm you with charm. So don't be afraid, because we are children of God. The Bible clearly identifies that God is our Father. To ask him and say, God, please, would you please give me what I want, or what I'm looking for, who I'm looking for, a man or a woman, so that I could make a godly family. Please, please, pretty please. And secondly, children also have other tactics in getting what they want. They are persistent. I spoke about this in the last video. But not only are they persistent, they would nag you. They would wear you out and work on you by just going on and on in a relentless manner, and just, beg and plead and nag and just grind you down. They would even cry. Some children, we don't like this aspect of them. They would throw a stink. They would, ball the place down. I've seen children at the supermarket throwing a tantrum simply to get what they want. And some parents, not all of us, some parents, they just give in, like the importunate woman who persisted and wearied the judge. Some of us as parents, we just want peace. Just give it to him. Just get it over and done with. And I don't think God minds that. Let us talk to God. Let us nag him. Let us beg and plead and be persistent. As children grow up, I have teenagers now, they find other ways of getting what they want from you. And I call this the bargaining chip. They will bargain with you, if I do that, bargaining and reasoning, if we do this, will you do that? They reason with you. And even God is quite clear in the scriptures. He says, come, let us reason together. Many of the prophets, had a go at God. I was reading earlier about Habakkuk. Habakkuk, God, I've been speaking to you. How long are you going to take to respond to me? How long am I going to have to do this? So reason with God, argue with him, talk with him. God is not above that. He likes people to come to him and lay out a case. If you give me a husband or a wife, a family or children, I could bring them up in the nurture and admonition. I could influence the world through the family that you give me. Don't be afraid to reason with God, to bargain with God, to be persistent with God, and to ask nicely. Yes, God is not above negotiation, reasoning, and he has given us a mind, and he wants us to use our intelligence to speak with him, to not be afraid of him, to just come and just lay it out. When our children grow into teenage years, they have a go at us. They have a go at, when my son wants to go out, and he would ask me why. And for every reason I bring up, he has a comeback at me, and he would try to unravel on some way, wear me down by saying, why? And every reason I come up with, if I don't give in, he is going to argue with me no end. But beyond arguing with God, like some of the prophets did, why is this happening, God? Why are you allowing your people to be embarrassed, to be beaten and carried off into slavery? People are not going to be, they're not going to see you as the powerful God that you are. Habakkuk, like I mentioned before, had a go at God. Job himself, I mentioned that God said, come, let us reason together. And he wants to reason with you, Let him know, when are you going to do it? If not now, when? I've been praying for years. Speak with God. Argue with him. Negotiate with him. Let him know, like Hannah, that if you give me these children, if you give me a family, I'm going to give them back to you. I'm going to raise them in the nurture and admonition of God. Just give me a family. Give me a man. Give me a woman. Let me start a family. And I'm going to dedicate that family to God, to you. Just open the door. Let someone come in my life. Show me where I can go, what I can do, so that I could have a family. When? I know you want me to get married, but I've been punishing for all these years. If not now, when? In the next series, in the next video, I am going to speak about whether or not you should ask God for signs to tell you what to do and how to go about doing it. See you then.